Hello, 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 and welcome into this week's edition of the Walkthrough. I am your host, Intern Joe Macheca. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Hope everyone has been celebrating well with your dads. Um, you know, giving pops good gifts, showing them all the love and appreciation as usual. It's Sunday, so you know what that means. It's this week's edition of the Walkthrough. I'm your host, Intern Joe Macheca, like I said. Checking in. There's a lot that happened this week in South Carolina athletics, mainly Paul Mainieri hired as head baseball coach at South Carolina. I'll have all of his details. We'll break down some of his contract as well, all of the incentives, and then also break down some of his staff. Terry Rooney, how big of a hire is that? Get into that as well. And then also Shane Beamer and Gamecock football heating up as June goes along. They're starting to fill out that 2025 class. So I'll round up the recruiting and everything as we go along here. But again, appreciate everyone tuning in on Father's Day, Sunday, June 16th for this week's edition of the Walkthrough. But yeah, starting it off, I mean, Paul Mainieri is hired as South Carolina's baseball coach. Humongous get for Ray Tanner and his staff. You had to shell it out a little bit, but again, they were able to secure it. He's a proven winner. He checks every single box. And so I think Paul Mainieri is going to be like he's the perfect choice, right? And when you were going through the running list of potential candidates for the South Carolina head baseball coaching job, you were hoping there was going to be something more, kind of leaning towards your options. And then as Ray Tanner goes to call his buddy, his good friend Paul Mainieri about who he should hire for the job, Mainieri or Ray offers it to Mainieri. Mainieri takes the bait, and here we are sitting on Sunday, June 16th, talking about the Paul Mainieri era in South Carolina baseball. So I think it's going to be really exciting. Obviously, he checks every box, proven winner. He's 1,505 and 777 as a head coach. Obviously his last job was at LSU, left or was retired, so to speak, in 2021. And then, has been out of baseball, living in Baton Rouge since then. Signed a huge contract with South Carolina to come on as a new head baseball coach. $1.3 million annually for 5 years. There's $225,000 in incentives tucked into this little thing for Mainieri. So it's crazy. It goes up 40K in incentives if he goes top 5 in the SEC, wins the regular season title and the SEC tournament, I believe. And the SEC tournament's an extra 15 or 20. If you make a regional, it's 10K. And then if you make it, and if you host, it's 25. So there's 25 tied up in regional appearances, and it makes it 25 if you host. If you win the regional, if you win the regional and you make it to a super, you get another 30. Paul Mainieri gets another 30. And then another 20K if he makes it out of the super, which is awesome. I mean, this contract is loaded with incentives along with a big annual salary. William Jones checking in. Great hire by Ray Tanner. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Ray for getting this one done. All 3 hirings too. I mean, if you look at the men's golf hiring, really good proven winner out of Purdue. Everyone that I talked to at Purdue had said a lot of really good things about this guy. He knows how to take a men's golf program into the modern era. But and getting back into it, Mainieri's contract, if you win the super, he gets another 20K. If you make the College World Series, you and are a finalist, you get another 30. And then if you make the national championship and are the national champion, you get another 80K. So $225,000 of incentives to go along with $1.3 million per year for head baseball coach Paul Mainieri. It's a big contract. And, I think the whole goal is to win now, right? Because Mainieri turns 67 this summer, and he's coming up on it, and so there's no messing around here. If you're South Carolina, right? And I don't think that is the vibe that anyone is getting. It's you just fired your head coach for making a regional, and you also made a super last year. So the goal is to win now. The goal is to get to Omaha, right? Obviously the College World Series going on right now, and sound off in the comments who you guys want to win. the College World Series. I don't know. I mean, you're picking from the lesser of a bunch of evils in the SEC and the ACC. There was some Texas A&M stuff. Obviously, the hecklers it got out of control in Omaha, bringing up some stuff that is certainly not allowed and should never be heckled upon. But bringing up a team's bat boy that they lost or something like that is not cool, and that needs to stay out of it. So ding on the Aggies there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who comes out of it all. But if you're South Carolina, you should be playing this weekend. And that's the whole goal. That's the attitude that the fans want. And that's what you need to revitalize this baseball program. You need to go back to Omaha consistently. Now, winning on Omaha's scale, and now it helps when you have a coach in Paul Mainieri who's done it before, who's been to Omaha and has seen the light, has a national championship for himself. Finding success in Omaha is a whole different ballgame, right? But getting there is all this fan base wants. And damn it, if they're going to see it, they're going to see it. And Mainieri should be the first step in the right direction, right? So huge news. Terry Rooney is obviously they're bringing him on to be the recruiting coordinator and also help with pitching. He Terry Rooney's job. The laundry list goes on and on and on when it comes to Terry Rooney and the guys that he's been able to bring in for Paul Mainieri at LSU. But he built the 2008 team with Mainieri. Mainieri talked about that in his presser. And so it was a huge get for Terry Rooney, and all of our Gamecock Central shows. We've talked to some LSU guys, and the attitude from the LSU standpoint is that losing Terry Rooney is humongous, right? It's a very bad loss for LSU and a huge gain for South Carolina. So it's really, 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 really good. And I have a clip here coming up from Mainieri, and let me know if you guys can hear this, because sometimes these clips get wonky. But I will have Coach Mainieri just talking about the win now mentality. It's pretty good. So I'm pulling that up here in a second. But Terry Rooney, I mean, he brought in Justin Verlander, for Christ's sake. He recruited Justin Verlander. That's all you should really need. Justin Verlander was a phenomenal college athlete. He's a phenomenal pro athlete. And just has the right stuff, goes about his business, mostly the right way. So should be exciting. And obviously Terry Rooney's job is to recruit. It is to help Monty Lee to recruit. And Terry Rooney's, I'm assuming, since Monty's ties are all, within the SEC and all, littered throughout within the Southeast, I'm assuming Rooney's going to go and obviously helping Monty, but going to Atlanta, to Florida, and digging in to the true prospects on a national standpoint. I think you're going to start to see a lot of them commit, and that's going to be huge for South Carolina, right? Just being able to be a national brand when you have Coach Mainieri and all the success, it's gonna be an easy sell. The goal is to win now because and again I'll pull it up in his clip from the introductory press conference. But Coach Mainieri's whole goal is to win now. He likes the roster. The roster's compelling, and obviously they've got some work to do. But again, Terry Rooney and Mainieri already have a commitment already from an outfielder from St. Mary's, grad transfer Dalton Mashore. 3 seasons with the Gales, he's hit 274, 362, and 490. But last season is when he really popped off. He hit 338 with 13 homers and 41 RBIs in 56 games. He had team leading 11 stolen bases and fielded 994 with just one error. So Dalton Mashore will be a really interesting name to watch as fall baseball starts to kick off. Come August, September, whenever they decide to start fall baseball up, and that'll be Coach Mainieri. We'll get there as we get there, but humongous hire, and the importance of Monty Lee is also a big factor in this. Number one, shout out to Coach Mainieri for being able to talk to him and find a way to get him back on the staff, right? Because again, we all know the head coaching job was something that Monty Lee had wanted. It was something that he was vying for that position during this hiring cycle. But then you hire a coach like Mainieri, right? And you essentially tee it up for a guy like Monty Lee to take over this program when he's ready. There's still some development there. I think Coach Tanner feels that way. And then also, so does Coach Mainieri. But the goal is to develop Monty Lee into being that next coach for the future. And, and with all due respect to Ray and Monty, I think, that relationship has formed and fostered really well. And, you want to see that come to fruition because, Monty Lee is also kind of a similar coach. When we talk about, this hiring and the fact that they said they wanted somebody like Ray Tanner to take over the helm, Monty Lee is kind of another cut example, right? He's not exactly what you would need to take this program back to Omaha and revitalize it right away. But again, he's a really, really good choice. If you get this program back to where it was, he's the perfect and obvious choice when you get to that point, when you are back to where you want to be. It's a very, good choice, very clear choice to me that you would go with Monty Lee, somebody who's seen the rise and fall of the program many times now, and seen it in the light, when you were back in 2010, and now this time with more of an expanded role. So Monty's the guy after Paul Mainieri, you would hope, right? And you hope that you can keep him around for as long as you can, because the guys like him. The guys really do like him, and they will play for him. And now, obviously, with Coach Mainieri, you've had a couple big commitments. You've had Ethan Petrie coming back. You've had, commitments from a couple different guys. But you're going to need that to win right now. And I'm going to pull up this clip here. Coach Mainieri talking about, and really good question from Rick Henry, one of the local TV guys, WIS, I believe. If I missed that, excuse me, Rick. But this is a really, really good question and a really good answer from Coach Mainieri about the win now mentality.
Welcome to Columbia.
Thank you.
What's the key to transforming a program into one that can consistently get to the regionals, super regionals, and make trips to Omaha?
Well, let me say this, first of all. This program is not in the doldrums, okay? I mean, they won 37 games last year. They won 3 games in the SEC tournament. They won a game in the regional. They're close. There's talent on this team. I know there's talent on this team. So, people say, how many years is going to take? Look, I don't have a 3-year plan. I don't have a 5-year plan. I got a 1-year plan. This team, the kids that are on this team that only have 1 more year of eligibility, they don't care about 2 years from now or 3 years from now. We're going to go out there and do the very best that we can this coming year. And if we do a little bit more to supplement the team that we have coming back through recruiting and transfer portal and so forth, I don't see why we can't compete for everything right out of the gate. I didn't come here to lose. I didn't come here to be mediocre. In my opinion, Carolina baseball represents excellence. Ray Tanner, listen, Bobby Richardson and June Raines and Ray Tanner, all these great coaches of the past, they didn't work so hard to build a mediocre team. They're not happy with mediocrity, and nor will I. This is my last go-around. I'm not working anywhere after here, okay? This is it. So I think we need to win now. I think we should go for it. I don't know if it's going to happen. It's a tough league. I don't know if you know that, but it's a tough league, okay? And we're going to go out there and we're going to compete our what's off every day. And if we get a few breaks and we make it happen. But I think the attitude of the players is going to dictate everything. If they're disciplined, if they care about the little things, it starts with how they conduct themselves. It starts with how they keep the locker room. It's how they respect their facility. It's how they interact with the public. It's all those kinds of things that if they're totally dedicated to a cause and we have the discipline and maybe we teach them how to handle the pressure situations a little bit better, okay? Make a big pitch, get a big hit, make a big play, run the bases, take pride in the base running. It's a cumulative thing that doesn't just happen overnight. You got to do it every day. You got to be a champion every day if you really want to hold up the big trophy at the end. And those were characteristics of Ray's teams when they were really winning big. I don't see any reason why we can't just restore that glory. And again, if we recruit the right players, coach them the right way, be dedicated to them, and they're dedicated to the team, I don't see any reason why we should put limits on what we accomplish.
Paul, Mike, you have a Gamecock Central.
Hey, Mike.
There's been obviously 2 coaches that have come in since.
Yeah. So really, really, really good stuff there from Coach Mainieri. It's this lineup is something that you can come in, tinker with a little bit, and then should be able to go right back into postseason play. There's a couple changes that you need to make, but if you can hold on to the Blake Jacksons, the Ethan Petries of the world, then you should have a really good shot at it. And now, obviously, there have been a couple guys entering the portal. Javara Martin, you saw, who's a freshman lefty with some gas, and we'll see where he ends up. But it's going to be really interesting to see how they fill out this roster, because we know that pitching rules all, and it all depends on your bullpen and the strength of all that. Well, the quality is of players. How are you going to pull it out of the portal? How are you going to also, draw more out of your players, right? Because I think it was Anthony Richardson or something like this that said, playing in the pros is easier than playing, in college, because in college you have a bunch of guys that are, crazy talented, but they just don't know it yet. And so I think, similar to South Carolina baseball, what you need and why they brought in Paul Mainieri is because you have to draw, good performances out of guys night in and night out. These guys had the potential. We saw it. It was just a matter of showing up night in and night out, from a consistency standpoint. So, where do you start? Where do you go from there? Right. It's going to take some pitching depth, but also, I mean, for me, at the end of the day, it's just a matter of getting these guys to play up to the standard night in and night out. Baseball's it's a long season. And so you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have, moments where, you're not the best baseball team you are, but the matter of fact is with the South Carolina baseball team is like, when the going gets tough, you got to get going. And, night in and night out, it's got to be good and consistent. When you're not there, you got to have somebody who's ready to step up and be consistent. So that's why you brought in Paul Mainieri for confidence to swing guys, to make sure that you are bringing your best night in and night out, and that there is no doubt about it. Right. And, I think it's awesome, as I mentioned with Monty Lee, developing him as a baseball coach is going to be, huge. And again, you want him to take over the program eventually. But this is the best case scenario for South Carolina, right? Ray Tanner, I think the lone loss this week in South Carolina athletics was losing Chance Miller to Coastal Carolina. Like, I think that's the biggest loss in your athletic department that you took this week. And now, granted, a very big one. Chance Miller's awesome. He's one of the best people, we've ever worked with here at Gamecock Central, in the athletics office and everything like that. Unbelievable human. Congratulations to Chance Miller for getting that job. And it's also really cool to see, somebody from a South Carolina lens that you've been working with, and, somebody who's been an assistant AD underneath Coach Tanner for the longest time, to finally, get his shot to go run his own athletic department. I think that's huge. And so congratulations to Chance Miller for that, leading on the Chance. I love that over there, the Chancleteers at Coastal Carolina. So I think that's huge, and also very good for South Carolina's brand, because when Chance Miller goes and dominates, as he always does with everything at Coastal Carolina, it's going to have the South Carolina, or I guess, watermark, or the whatnot, where he was last on him with him. So South Carolina man through and through. So huge addition for the Chancleteers, Coastal Carolina, to get Chance Miller. Humongous addition there. James Kendall says he will be more seasoned when Ray departs. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And, if it wasn't quite the pipeline that a couple that people thought, I guess people assume that, he would just take over after Ray as from the associate AD. But now, again, he gets a chance to go do it on his own and really, have all the heat on him. And I think it's just going to be more of a learning opportunity. And, like, as James is saying right here, will be more seasoned and more ready to take on the challenge when Ray departs. And so I couldn't think of a better candidate. And obviously, I think that's been the attitude around South Carolina for a while. But this just means Coach Tanner is nowhere near done yet. And obviously, you would hope Chance Miller would like to come back if that door opens up as well. But huge addition for Coastal Carolina, because Chance Miller is one of our favorites at Gamecock Central. So we talked a bunch of baseball there in that last 20. I did want to get a recruiting roundup really quickly before, I brought up the ads, and then some final thoughts for this episode. But do want to talk. So the recruiting, South Carolina has gotten some big recruits in the 2025 class. They're starting to fill it out. And so I pulled up the class of 2025. As of late, you've had, commitment from interior offensive lineman Shed Surratt, 6'3" and a half, 290 out of Gaffney. Huge pull for Shane Beamer and company. You got it. 3-star is the industry ranking. ESPN has not logged one, and then you also have Rivals logging him as a 3-star. But so again, on 3, we've got him as a 91 4-star clear, and obviously a 4-star. He's committed to South Carolina. He's had other offers from App State, Tennessee, Florida State, and Missouri. So Shed Surratt, this guy is a big part of this 2025 class, and they're starting to fill it out again as June heats up. Just watch out for Shed Surratt, the interior offensive lineman. He goes in with the class with obviously Anthony Addison, the defensive end out of Sumter. This kid's going to be a stud. He was on camp watching his brother these last couple of weeks. He really likes it at South Carolina, is a huge piece when it comes to recruiting other players. Anthony Addison's been working kind of like Dante Reno, but a little bit more behind the scenes. So huge. You added Jaquel Holman, another camp guy, another underrated guy, 3-star, high ceiling, reminds me of Fred J.R. Johnson. We watched him play in camp. Another guy that kind of, went through the rough. He's got the size 6'1", 197. He'll bulk up. Prototypical SEC linebacker, got the size. You just need him to show up and compete, which is huge. Jaden Puppy Sellers is big one in this class. Kobe Kobe is what we're going to call him. But yeah, no, the edge. I spoke with him about his visit. Friends with Wendell Gregory out of Roswell, Georgia. Another big pickup, 6'3", 210. He has all of that size and more. And William says, no Tiger and Gaffney, all Gamecock. Yeah, absolutely. I think, huge pick up with Shed Surratt. And yeah, got a Gaffney, humongous pickup. Adds to that the Great Wall of Carolina, adding another brick in there. So huge pickup out of Gaffney with Shed. But then, yeah, Kobe, I think Kobe's going to be a nice addition to the edge room. Possesses that size that you talk about. He comes from a really good family. His mom was really excited when we were talking to him. But yes, comes from Roswell, Georgia, friends with Wendell Gregory. And now he's committed to South Carolina. But, this was after his OV. He still has to go he's still taking an official visit to Mississippi State, I believe, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But this is a recent commitment. This is one of the recent welcome homes. Kobe Saka, I'm sorry. But huge pickup because, again, this kid is going to be, another high ceiling kid on the edge and be a nice addition into that room with Sterling Lucas. And talk about another guy, who made a big pitch is Sterling Lucas for Kobe. It was a humongous pitch from Sterling Lucas to get him. And it really was the family aspect that, Lucas brought up. And also, as you see, as a reminder, subscribe to Gamecock Central. Don't necessarily have the deal on the top of my head, but yes. So Kobe was another one. AJ Holloway is another linebacker out of Georgia, 3-star, 6'3", 225, a little bit of better size than Jaquel Holman. But again, AJ Holloway, really good pickup here. Preston Douglas was another one of the commitments too. The welcome homes have been rattling off, and obviously I can't tell you who every single one is, but they are committing as it goes along. So Kobe was a big one after OVs. AJ Holloway, another just big kid, high ceiling. They like the dogs, the kids that have to fight for a little bit, that are a little bit undersized, or that are not undersized, a little bit undersold, a little bit underhyped. And so AJ Holloway, Kobe, Sakya Pra is another one. Preston Douglas, coming out of the Benjamin School in Jupiter, Florida. Tight ends with, when you throw them into the room with Sean Elliott, they are going to, turn into some dogs. A guy that, has coached offensive line and tight end coming out of high school. Not all of these guys are fully developed. Sometimes they might have, the baby deer almost where they're not fully developed, but they have the size. And then so you take guys on. I'm not saying that's what Preston Douglas is, but he does possess, because I haven't seen this kid play. I need to watch some tape here, Preston Douglas, but he has to possess some of it to play in the SEC. So they offered him hard commit, 6'3", 225. Again, really high ceiling. And then Chris Hatfield there's two more. Max Kelly recently committed to, he's going to be in the mix for the kicking room. You needed to go add one more. You've got Mason Love in there already, but Chris Hatfield is another one. I think, out of the recent commitments, Hatfield could be the dog out of all of them, besides, obviously talking about Shed Surratt, I think, going to be a good one, but Chris Hatfield, 6'2", 6'2.5", pretty much 6'3", 205 DB out of Ludwig County. I believe that's Ludwig County, Georgia. And so Chris Hadfield, he's going to be, has speed off the edge, really, really likes what Torian Gray is doing for this DB room. So really good pickup in Chris Hadfield. Again, hard commit. A lot of these guys that are committing right now are really strong and staunch in their commitments. And so that goes for the 2025 class. So wrapping it up, with this class of 2025, just taking a look at it as a whole, you're sitting 24th nationally after the last, couple, or you've dropped 5 spots since the last rank. Since the last ranking came out, you sit 11th in the SEC, and then a class score of 88. So again, you're filling out the rest of the class, the bottom of it. And some of these guys, again, I told you, Christopher Hatfield, really, really underrated guy, has the size, has speed. Just let him get in the lab with, Torian Gray and those guys, and you might find some dogs coming out of it. So big one. And then Preston Douglas, same way. AJ Holloway, Kobe Sakai Pra, another big one. Jaden Sellers, we know Jaden Puppy Sellers. Dog, we know his brother, who's also going to be a dog. Jaquel Holman, no exception there. Anthony Addison, really, really good. Caleb Williams, another kid whose size just jumps off the chart. So you got to get him in and develop them from then forward. So as I switch the screen over, let me talk to you guys about our sponsors of the evening as I pull this up. Gamecock Central is brought to you by the show, and the walkthrough is brought to you by our good friend Clint Hammond of the Movement Mortgage Network. In need of help with your mortgage, call on our good friend Clint Hammond of the Movement Mortgage Network. He's been in the industry since 2003, which allows him to help everyone from the first-time home buyer to the complicated and complex jumbo buyer, whether you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance. Nothing is more important than a well-thought-out financial strategy that comes with 5-star customer service. He's even helped out our very own Wes Mitchell and former Gamecock quarterback Perry Orth with their mortgages. So give our guy Clint a call. He's above us on all of our GC Live programming. 803-422-6797. Once again, 803-422-6797 for all of your mortgage needs. And then you can also find him at clinthammond.com. Our next sponsor for today, this week's episode of The Walkthrough is also brought to you by Andy Luedecke at myperfectfranchise.net. Are you ready to leave the corporate rat race for the American dream? Looking for a side hustle while working your current job, wanting to diversify, build wealth, and or leave a legacy? Andy can help. Andy's a franchise consultant as well as franchise owner that helps people find franchises that fit their skill sets, financial requirements, time to commit, and more. His services are 100% free. Andy's here to help you, or here to help if you have any questions about business ownership. You can give him a call on your screen right now. And for those listening, 404-973-9901. Once again, 404-973-9901. You can also contact him at Andy at myperfectfranchise.net for more franchising, for all of your franchising needs. Closing down the show, short one, obviously, because no guests this week and whatnot. But it is the off season, so not a whole lot to talk about. But put in a pretty good half hour. Appreciate everyone tuning in this week. But final thoughts for this Sunday, and it is Father's Day, and I'm also needing to call my father again, make sure that the gift I got him was received. So hopefully he likes it. We'll see. But yeah, no. So these next couple of weeks, what we're gonna look like, going to be breaking down, just going through position groups, what you need on the offensive side of the ball. We'll go skill guys, just kind of break things down football wise as we approach summer camp. Obviously, June is filling out camps. They're offering guys left and right. They just offered a quarterback in the 2026 class, I believe, or might even be a 2027. Has a Wake Forest offer. Really good kid, balled out at camp the other day. So could be interesting to see how those offers go and whatnot. They're offering guys left and right, so it's hard to keep track of every single one of them. But the way that they're recruiting and the way that they're going about it, it's ruthless. I mean, they're really hitting the recruiting trail. Shane Beamer and company and this staff is really doing the due diligence to try to get some guys in here and fill out the rest of this 2025 class. Because yes, as big as your class for 2024 was, it doesn't mean you can sleep in the 2025 class. So again, you might have missed out on some big ones like Zayden Walker and whatnot, but they are still boots on the ground and off and running. So it will be, interesting these next couple of weeks to kind of keep, rolling through the 2025 class. again, I'll also be doing some football previews these next couple of weeks as well. So appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. Again, short show because summer is upon us. It's also Father's Day. Again, I need to call my own father. Make sure the gift I got him, made it and everything. Hope he likes it. But happy Father's Day to everyone out there. If you're celebrating with your dad, tell him happy Father's Day from all of us here at Gamecock Central. If you missed any of my show today, on Gamecock Central, next to the subscribe button, you can hit the little bell icon to be notified every time one of our shows goes live. And you can also rewatch us under the live tab on Gamecock Central's YouTube page. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, happy Father's Day. Go text your dad, go call your dad, let him know that you love him and everything like that. Because again, this is the sporting world. Dads are the best, and also your mom too. Our parents really take care of us here in the sporting world. So make sure they feel appreciated. And ending this Sunday on some good vibes. William, yes, as always, appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate everyone tuning in on this Sunday night. Again, we will talk to you later this week with GC Live Talking Tuesdays coming up. So should be a pretty fun week, obviously, as always with Gamecock Central. So thank you for everyone tuning in tonight. And again, happy Father's Day and have a great week.